You ready, Karen?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Come on in. The water's warm. Belly dancers will be here in a few minutes. Are you rolling or not?
I am.
All right. Here we go again. Once again, welcome to the Colorado Luthiers Group second meeting of the year. We call that the second quarter. Karen has organized the agenda for us, and here's basically what we're going to talk about. Recently, I wrote an article for the Guild of American Luthiers magazine on dust control. So we'll start with that. We'll then go into a hand plane setup demo. Then we're going to, Karen asked me to talk about the top 5 most requested things for my Luthier Tips du Jour videos. So I've selected some of those that are pretty popular, and I'll maybe do some demos and we can talk about each one of those. And we can do some Q&A, and we'll have the belly dancers here. The keg is going to show up here in a little bit. So we'll have a good time.
That's not happening,
Yeah,
that wasn't part of the agenda.
Just keep the noise down so the neighbors don't call the cops. We'll be okay. All right, so let's start with the dust collection. Did everybody get a copy of the article? Somebody hand me a copy, please. Thank you. Years ago up at the college when I taught up there, I noticed that towards the beginning of the semester when we'd start milling our lumber and getting things ready to go, I started having flu-like symptoms. And runny nose, eyes, that kind of stuff. And then it would subside as we would get into actually building the guitar. And then it would come back towards mid-semester or 3/4 of the semester when we start doing our sanding. So I'm not as dumb as I look, and I figured out real quick, I've got a problem. It's the dust. And that was a very dusty shop to begin with up there, wasn't it, Karen? So I started using a dust mask. It became hard to communicate with students, though. So I started to do some research into dust and the hazards of it. And the first part of the article is just informative and kind of puts the fear of God into you about dust and why we need to control it and the effects it has on your health. Pretty dangerous stuff. If you want to be doing this for a long time, you need to kind of protect yourself from the get-go. I know guys that have been at this for 30 years and now they can't be in the same room as rosewood. Same thing with solvents, spray finishes, lacquers. You don't protect yourself in the beginning, now all of a sudden you can't even be in the same room with it. And if this is the way you make your living like I do, yeah, that's a real bummer. So you need to figure out some way to protect yourself. So I, in the article, talk about the dangers of it, give some research and some websites, the OSHA website and things. And then I went out and purchased a system from Oneida. You can see in the corner over there. And that has helped considerably. In the back of the article here, towards the end, I list some of the priorities of dust collection. I'll let you guys read through this later. We're kind of limited on time, so I'm just going to talk about a few of them. Collect the dust at the source. If you don't collect it at the source, it gets up into the environment. It's moving around. The really fine dust, the 1 to 10 micron range, is just floating around your shop. A lot of people get those air cleaners that hang from the ceiling or put a fan in the shop. That's one of the worst things you can do because it's just blowing that fine stuff that's invisible to the eye around your shop and you're breathing it. So I don't recommend those. My research turned me off of those right in the beginning. But if you can collect the dust at the source, that's the best option. Make sure your dust hoods and all your dust collection at the source is as good as it can get. You want to use sufficient air volume, or we call it CFM, at the woodworking machine. I've got a machine over there. Now the CFM that thing pulls depends on how long your lines are, the size of your lines, and all that kind of stuff, how many tools you have hooked up to at once. So do your research on that. Very important that you have enough CFM. Your larger tools like your thickness sanders, your planers, they require a lot of CFM. So one of the things that I've done to make my machine more efficient is I've run about 15, 20 feet of line going down this side of the shop and about 15 or 20 feet of line going down that side of the shop. And then I teed off and I can shut off one side or the other. So rather than trying to run both sides at the same time, you're running more efficiently just on one side or the other. And so that's something that helped me keep my CFM up on my shop. Separate the bulk of the waste from the line before it gets to your filters, because once it gets to your filters start to clog. If your filter's not a good filter medium, then it's pumping it back up into your shop. The Oneida, if you go to their website, they talk about filter mediums and how theirs is made and all that kind of stuff. If you don't want to go to an industrial type collector, you can use the cyclone separators made for shop vacs. And I have one over here. You just take a look over here. This is also made by Oneida. This kind of sounds like a commercial for Oneida. It's not intended to be. But shop vacs are very inefficient anyway. after 15-20 minutes of heavy use, all of a sudden your filter's full and the efficiency goes way down. The filter medium is not good to get you down to the 1 to 10 micron range, so you're pumping it back up into your shop. When I put the Cyclone dust collector on there, it became a joy to use my shop vac again, because it separates 99% of it before it even hits the filter medium. So that really helped. And I also invested in a HEPA filter that gets me down to the 1 to 10 micron range on the shop vac. So great little tool there, and not very expensive. You can buy those for your shop vacs. So they're under $100. So
Where do you get them?
I got that one from Oneida. Oneida Air. Yeah.
And that just goes upstream of the shop.
Yeah, it goes between your nozzle and the vacuum.
It doesn't create suction by itself?
No, the vacuum creates a suction, and it comes through there, and that cyclone sucking out all the dust. So 99% hits that before it hits your filter. And so, you know, regardless of the health benefits, your shop vac is efficient again. It's a tool that you can use again, because I used to park it in the corner. I hated using it, but now I can use it again. Filter the fine dust. That's where the filter on the Cyclone dust collector comes in, or the filter on your shop vac. Get the best filter you can get, because once you get, if you're collecting at the source, you got high CFM, it's getting into your system, that's fantastic. Keep it in the system. And the best way to do that is get a high quality HEPA type filter with a good quality filter medium. That way you're not pumping it back into your shop, because I'm filtering the air into my shop and not filtering it outside. There are some pros and cons to doing outside. One of the cons is, hey, you're sucking all your heated air out. You can suck, you know, fumes from if you have your furnace or your hot water here in your shop like I do, you can suck that carbon monoxide back into your shop too. So anyway, so that's available. You have a handout. This is a printout from the actual article that came out in the magazine. So any questions about dust collection? I'm going to try and kind of move forward here pretty quick. We've got a lot to cover. So.
Just quick,
Yeah.
this size pipe,
Yeah.
versus this size pipe, can this run on that size pipe and create it?
No. Just because you increase the size of your pipe doesn't mean you're increasing the efficiency of your system. Now, size of your pipe does have a large role to do in the efficiency of your system. For example, the system I have over there, it runs ideally at an 8-inch pipe medium, and I'm running 6-inch pipe. Okay. So, you know, that was, rather than redo all the ducting in my shop and up the price about $3 grand, I thought, okay, I'll compromise the CFM a little bit and the efficiency of the unit, and I'll keep the system that I have right now. All right, so you guys can read all about that. Any other questions about dust collection?
You mentioned most people do have a ceiling unit,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean I have one,
Mm-hmm.
and but I only use it when I'm not in the shop.
Okay.
So I mean, obviously the idea is to not get it into the air.
Yeah.
But obviously some is always getting in the air. And so a suggestion is to just, you know, when I step out of the shop, that thing's on high.
Sure.
And I'm trying to, you know.
Sure, the problem with that is if your filter doesn't go down to the 1 to 10 micron range, the 1 to 10 microns, which is the most dangerous part of the dust, the visible dust, there's no problem, you can sweep that up. Yeah, the 1 to 10 micron range is just getting pushed around. Okay. Now, I do like that idea though. When I lived in Brazil, I had a guy down there had to put a big radiator fan from a diesel engine in his ceiling. And he'd pull a couple curtains over, and when he'd go to spray, he'd turn that sucker on, your hair would stand up. Overspray's doing this, you know. And I remember one day we were in there cutting up a big Brazilian rosewood log, and everything's cement in Brazil, white cement in his shop. And we got done, everything was black. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to be here all day cleaning this up. And he said, no, watch this. So he took an air hose, turned that radiator fan on, walked around, let's get out of here. And we went, we came back. A couple hours later, the place was spotless. So, had to clean the filter though. The neighbors probably weren't very happy either, because, you know.
Use them, you know, when you're not there,
Yeah, and I've considered, you know, closing off some of my joist system here and putting something that blows over here and sucks on that end for that kind of purpose, to get the heavy dust to help keep the shop clean. Okay.
Are there any woods that are just like outright poison?
Yeah, Western red cedar.
Western
Western red cedar is
one right here,
Coca-Cola, yeah. That'll put people in the hospital. All woods are dangerous, but some have actually been documented to cause asthma and bronchitis and things like that. Western red cedar is one of the main ones. Walnut also, believe it or not, is highly toxic. So be very careful with that kind of stuff. And then you have the stuff like the Coca-Cola, which is, you know, rashes. You know, I've heard of people going to hospitals. The throat swells shut, the eyes swell shut. So, yeah, it's dangerous stuff. Isn't this fun? Good times, huh? All right, next thing we need to talk about on our list here is hand plane setup. How many guys use hand planes in here?